Iraqi Dinar Today latest news is on the air, and we once again turn our focus to the crucial developments unfolding within the financial architecture of Iraq and the implications for its sovereign currency. For many years, the Iraqi dinar has been a subject shrouded in intense speculation, often navigating a complex and frustrating information landscape where verified facts were scarce and hope frequently outpaced official action. However, the information we are monitoring today suggests a profound, foundational change is underway, moving the entire discussion from the realm of theory into the concrete structure of national law. The significant update centers on reports indicating the long-anticipated approval of the Hydrocarbon Law, an essential legislative framework often referenced as the HCL. This reported legal milestone is said to coincide with the finalization of a comprehensive new rate framework designed to govern the dinar's value. This alignment of legislative authority and financial planning is precisely the specific, tangible mechanism that countless analysts and community members have consistently pointed to as the prerequisite for moving the currency from a period of relative stagnation to one of active and recognized global utility. To fully appreciate the magnitude of these alleged developments, we must first understand the journey the dinar community has endured. It has been a complex maze of unverified intelligence and hopeful rumors, requiring immense patience from those who hold the currency. The current cycle, if reports hold true, signifies a pivotal transition. The financial authorities in Iraq have reportedly moved past theoretical discussions and into the domain of definitive legislative action. This shift underscores a critical reality. Sustained change in a currency's global standing demands a solid statutory foundation. The reported approval of the HCL strongly suggests that the political and economic bottlenecks which previously obstructed this progress have been overcome. This legislative step is absolutely non-negotiable for any kind of fundamental value alteration. A national currency simply cannot change its position in the international marketplace without the formal, unambiguous statutory backing of its issuing government, giving both local and global financial bodies the necessary legal confidence to proceed with new operational parameters. Digging deeper into the significance of the Hydrocarbon Law reveals why its reported ratification is so crucial to the currency. The law is designed to serve as the legal and administrative backbone for revenue sharing and the integrated management of the nation's immense natural resources. By providing clarity on resource ownership and the subsequent distribution of profits, it effectively strengthens the economic collateral and confidence required to support a legally affirmed and potentially stronger currency value in the future. The official approval of the HCL, alongside the completion of the rate framework, effectively legitimizes any new value structure under the strict terms of Iraqi national law. This decisive action pivots the conversation away from uncertain possibilities and grounds it in a concrete, statutory reality. It implies that the currency's value is no longer intended to float solely on emotional market sentiment or unverified conjecture, but rather to be anchored by a formal legal decree that is recognizable and enforceable by international financial institutions and regulatory bodies. This transition to a complete legal framework carries with it profound implications for financial institutions, both domestically in Iraq and across the global banking sector. For a considerable period, major international banks and financial partners have been mandated to view the dinar with an abundance of caution, often treating it more as a speculative instrument than a stable, legitimately tradable currency. The completion of the rate framework, backed by the ratification of the HCL, essentially acts as a formal, lawful mandate for these institutions to move forward with new operational protocols. It serves as a regulatory green light, signaling to the entire global banking sector that the Iraqi dinar is formally preparing to operate under a new, standardized set of rules and parameters. This specific legal underpinning is the vital missing piece that allows banks to dedicate significant resources to preparing their internal systems, updating their compliance software, and training personnel for a new rate environment. Their posture shifts from mere observation and waiting to a state of committed operational readiness. For the individual long-term holder, this news, if confirmed, serves as a considerable form of validation for years of patience, strategy, and enduring the psychological toll of holding an asset that remained static for a prolonged period. The reported approval of the HCL suggests that the foundational groundwork necessary for a structured revaluation process has finally been established and legally affirmed. This means that currency holdings could potentially begin a transition from mere paper collectibles to becoming recognized financial assets with a lawfully confirmed value structure. This marks a complete and total paradigm shift in the dinar's classification. It moves the asset from being defined as a high-risk speculative gamble toward a legally recognized store of value, secured by the statutory and economic strength of the sovereign nation that issues the note. The implication here is that the waiting period was not wasted, but rather a necessary interval during which the essential legal and financial architecture was meticulously constructed and finalized behind the scenes. If the new rate framework has indeed been completed and is now formally backed by law, the entire potential for value recognition becomes a tangible and accountable subject of discussion, entirely divorced from mere hope. For those who acquired the currency at lower exchange values, the formal recognition of a new, potentially higher, rate could result in a significant and meaningful alteration of their financial standing. It is a process rooted in legitimate economics and legal compliance, not sudden magic. The value is fundamentally derived from the legal recognition provided by the government and the demonstrable economic strength of the country backing the note. This development suggests that any potential gains are no longer reliant on internet hype or unverified speculation, but are now securely tethered to the documented legislative success of the Iraqi government and their proven ability to implement the framework they have reportedly finalized and put into law. In the world of international finance, credibility is paramount, and this update is largely centered on the restoration of credibility for the Iraqi dinar on the global stage. With the HCL law now reportedly in place, the new rate framework evolves from a simple proposal into an officially sanctioned and legally enforceable financial standard. This powerful signal is directed toward the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the vast global investor community. It clearly indicates that the dinar is purposefully moving away from being categorized as a fringe speculation, and is actively becoming a currency formally recognized under robust official legal and financial structures. This type of recognition is the key that opens the doors for international banking systems to begin the serious process of accepting the dinar for trade and exchange, potentially forming the necessary liquidity pools for the currency to function normally in the global economy. We must also consider the vast ripple effects this development could have on the global perception of the dinar. If the currency successfully shifts from being a curious collectible to an actively tradable currency on the global stage, the mechanism by which markets value it will change dynamically. International investors may begin a systematic reevaluation of the immense potential of the Iraqi economy, viewing it as a legitimate emerging market with significant resource wealth rather than a conflict-affected zone. This critical shift in global perception is essential because currency value is inextricably linked to confidence. As the legal framework solidifies, global confidence in the stability and governance of the dinar increases, which in turn provides crucial support for the stability of any new confirmed rate. This is a complex macroeconomic process that turns the massive gears of global finance slowly but with immense lasting power, potentially affecting every holder watching this development. However, despite the understandable excitement surrounding the alleged approval of the law, a realistic perspective regarding the timeline and operational mechanics of the process must be strictly maintained. A legal approval, no matter how significant, does not instantaneously equate to an overnight flip of a switch where the currency value immediately skyrockets in your possession. The highly probable path forward involves a structured, multi-phased activation process that takes considerable time. This activation involves complex logistical undertakings, including the verification of all existing banknotes, the formal authentication of holdings, necessary upgrades to banking software globally, and the absolute assurance of strict compliance with all international anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing standards. These vital administrative and technical tasks require immense time, seamless coordination, and absolute precision to complete correctly and responsibly. Let us briefly walk through what this structured activation process might realistically involve, as it is crucial for managing accurate expectations. The first major operational hurdle will likely be comprehensive verification. It is highly probable that all physical notes held by individuals, both inside and outside of Iraq, will need to be checked rigorously for authenticity. This step ensures that the money supply is clean and that any counterfeit notes are permanently removed from the system. This meticulous process is fundamentally designed to protect the ultimate integrity of the new rate. Should the market be flooded with illegitimate notes, it would immediately destabilize the entire new financial framework. Therefore, holders should anticipate a rigorous and time-intensive process where the legitimacy of every single note is meticulously confirmed before any financial value can be officially realized through an exchange process. Following the initial verification, there will likely be a substantial focus on formal documentation. In the modern, highly regulated financial world, anonymity is rapidly becoming a relic of the past, especially when dealing with large currency transactions. Holders may very well be asked to provide proof of ownership and formally record their holdings in an official registry or system. This is standard, non-negotiable procedure for robust anti-money laundering compliance. This bureaucratic step, while potentially frustrating, is designed to protect the financial institutions facilitating the exchange and ensures that the wealth being exchanged is legitimate and fully traceable. This requirement is necessary for Iraq to fully integrate into the Western banking world. While it may seem like unnecessary paperwork, it is, in fact, an essential sign of the legitimacy and security that has been established for the entire exchange process. Parallel to the efforts in verification and documentation, the banking institutions themselves must actively prepare for the physical and digital handling of the impending exchanges. This requires a massive liquidity allocation effort. Sufficient funds must be made available in the appropriate international currencies, such as US dollars, euros, or others, so that when exchanges commence, there is enough cash capital allocated to cover the initial wave of transactions responsibly. This represents a massive, coordinated liquidity exercise that cannot be overstated. Banks do not simply print money to cover exchanges. They must have the necessary capital demonstrably allocated and secured. This suggests that complex negotiations, strategic transfers, and securing lines of credit are actively taking place behind the scenes to ensure that the liquidity pools are deep enough and stable enough to fully sustain the initial demand wave without market shock. Simultaneously, a rigorous regulatory oversight structure will be established and maintained to monitor the entire financial ecosystem. This oversight ensures that every step of the process adheres strictly to the highest international financial standards, and that the process remains transparent, fair, and equitable for all participants. When all these pieces, verification, documentation, banking readiness, and secured liquidity are securely in place, the structured activation can finally begin. This meticulous, phased approach is specifically designed to protect the fragile economy from a sudden shock. It minimizes the risk for the participating banks and provides the most secure and predictable environment possible for holders attempting to realize value. It is a methodical, slow-moving financial machine, but it is unequivocally the only way to ensure that a monetary revaluation of this magnitude can successfully hold and maintain its value over the long term. If the exchanges successfully go live under this new, legally affirmed framework, the practical outcome for diligent holders could indeed be profound, but it must be met with a level head. Should the new rate be significantly higher than the previous exchange values, the impact on personal finances could be dramatic, transforming what was once a highly negligible holding into a substantial and meaningful asset. For many, this could mean financial stability or the capital to invest in new ventures. Beyond the individual, we must also consider the surrounding ecosystem that could potentially develop around a revalued dinar. If the currency becomes a legitimate and respected asset, we could see the organic development of specialized banking services, new financial products, and long-term investment opportunities tied directly to dinar holdings. This elevates the discussion past a simple currency exchange and into the realm of diversified, long-term investment strategy. However, with this significant potential comes a heavy and unavoidable burden of caution. Even though the HCL law provides a sturdy legal footing, holders must remain grounded in reality and exceptionally vigilant. The process will be highly regulated, and getting caught up in emotional hype or speculative promises can be extremely dangerous. Making risky financial decisions based on internet speculation before the official exchange windows open is always ill-advised. The focus right now for every holder should be on disciplined preparation, meticulously verifying your own holdings, organizing your documentation in a secure location, and staying exclusively tuned to official communications from certified financial bodies. Ignoring official regulatory guidelines in favor of unsubstantiated internet rumors is the fastest and easiest way to make a costly mistake during this critical and highly sensitive transition period. It is equally crucial to avoid the self-proclaimed hype merchants who push entirely unrealistic projections or promise guaranteed get-rich-quick scenarios. The underlying potential for the dinar is real, backed by the documented economic recovery of a nation, but that does not translate to everyone becoming an overnight financial success. Prudent, methodical, and informed action will always yield better, safer outcomes than emotional, blind optimism. There will likely be limits, structured tiered access, or specific banking requirements put in place. By preparing for this to be a regulated and systematic financial event, rather than a chance lottery win, holders place themselves in a vastly stronger and more advantageous position to navigate the inevitable complexities of the exchange process when it officially commences on a public level. The best defense is always a well-informed and cautious approach. This significant development also has broader, community-level implications. If the revaluation moves forward smoothly and responsibly, we could witness substantial positive shifts in local economies as people begin to inject new-found, legitimate liquidity into their surroundings. This could manifest as targeted investment in local real estate, new funding for small businesses, or crucial support for higher education initiatives across various regions. While this is not a guarantee, the possibility that this currency transition could act as a robust stimulus for local community growth is a powerful and hopeful narrative that extends far beyond individual financial gain. It speaks to a collective revitalization, On the international stage, the reported passage of the HCL law and the approval of the rate framework will inevitably draw the focused attention of major global investors and governments in a new way. This renewed international interest could lead to substantial foreign investment inflows into Iraq, the launch of vital infrastructure development projects, and the forging of new, long-term banking partnerships. A stronger Iraqi economy directly strengthens the dinar, and a stronger dinar, in turn, reinforces the health of the economy. For the holder, this means their currency is actively part of a much larger, historic economic transformation. We must also openly address the potential challenges that any transition of this magnitude will inevitably face, as no process is without its hurdles. Logistical issues alone present a massive and time-consuming undertaking. Verifying millions of notes will require substantial time, human resources, and technical support. Mistakes or delays are almost inevitable, which could cause understandable frustration among holders eager to complete their exchange. Furthermore, if the initial wave of demand significantly outpaces the supply of liquid cash readily available at the banks, we could see operational bottlenecks that may lead to extended wait times, temporary exchange limits, or phased release schedules. Understanding these potential pitfalls now will help every holder maintain their composure and necessary patience if or when these logistical delays inevitably occur during the initial public roll-out phase. Market psychology is another extremely volatile factor that must be considered. Some holders may choose to panic sell at the very first hint of revaluation, fearing the rate might unpredictably drop back down, while others may stubbornly refuse to sell, holding out for a theoretical and unrealistic higher value. This variability can significantly impact the short-term stability of the exchange rates and overall market behavior, so a solid personal strategy is paramount. It is of the utmost importance to have a clear, predetermined personal strategy that is not swayed by the collective panic or greed of the crowd. Knowing your specific financial goals and sticking to a predetermined plan is the best defense against the emotional swings that are guaranteed to emerge in the market. Given both the immense promise and the potential pitfalls, the best course of action right now is to do absolutely nothing rash. Avoid the temptation to sell to speculative private buyers or to engage in any gray market deals that promise incredibly quick cash, but will almost certainly undervalue your asset significantly. Instead, focus entirely on the administrative security of your investment. Count your notes, formally record your serial numbers if possible, and store them in a secure, fireproof location. Do not, under any circumstances, share your personal financial information with unverified sources. The safety and security of your physical assets is paramount right now, as various scams and fraudulent schemes always tend to proliferate during times of such high anticipation and uncertainty. It is also a time to manage your expectations and those of your immediate family or friends. If you know others who hold the dinar, strongly encourage them to rely exclusively on official, verified information, not rumor or speculation from unverified sources. By actively creating a community of informed and cautious holders, you help to protect each other from bad actors and unnecessary risk. There is significant strength in unity and shared awareness during a critical financial transition. When the time eventually comes for public exchanges, a calm, rational, and informed approach will ultimately ensure that the entire process is smoother, safer, and more efficient for everyone involved in the process. Finally, remember that today's significant legal announcement, while absolutely massive in its implications, does not come with a specific public launch calendar for exchanges. It is completely normal for there to be a considerable gap between the formal legal passage of foundational laws and the public implementation of the operational mechanics those laws enable. It could be weeks, or it could realistically be many months before official public windows open. What truly matters most is the reported news that the structural foundation, the necessary legal and financial architecture, is now reportedly securely in place. This latest news marks the official start of an operational journey, not necessarily the immediate finish line. Stay ready, stay keenly aware, and above all, stay patiently disciplined. The future for the dinar appears to be moving in a highly positive and structured direction, but it will require significant composure to navigate the final, complex steps of this historic financial shift.